Greetings and salutations to you all once again. It is me, the Ravenous Spectre, and I haven't done a wrestling video in a long while, so I figured, what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and do one. I just kind of thought of this off of the top of my head, and I'm like, I'm actually going to talk about my experience of the very first wrestling event that I went to. Now, it was back in, as a matter of fact, let me pull up the results real quick because I can't remember that far back, to be quite honest. I just want to make sure I have everything all squared away here so I can look at the thingy here. This is not working for me. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, let me see. Okay. Sorry about that. I had it already pulled up, but I kind of had to rearrange some things, to get it rearranged. But it was back in 1999. It was WWF at the time, Unforgiven, which was at the Charlotte Coliseum. I was very anxious to go to my very first wrestling event. It was with my father. God rest his soul. He was the one that went there with me. It was just me and him. The funny thing about that was there was previous times in the past that me and my father were going to go to wrestling events, but it just never occurred. It's like something always came up where we couldn't go. There was probably maybe I think 2 or 3 other times in my past when I was younger where we couldn't go to any wrestling events. And one in particular that really stood out to me, which just totally, it just sucked. It was like, what the hell's going on today? Well, why is this happening, kind of thing. I can't remember what event it was, but we got tickets to go to one of these events, and me and my dad were on our way there. I don't know when it had occurred, but something happened with the car. The car broke down. So we called a tow truck. We called the guy. I don't know if this was like a towing repair service, like car repair service on wheels or something like that. But I don't remember if he towed us or whether or not he. Like I said, this was years ago. I think I was like 12 years old or something at the time when this had happened. I don't know if he towed us or whether he had either fixed the car and we were on our way. Um, I think he towed us. Yeah, I think he did because the reason I say he towed us is because of the fact that my dad actually ended up giving the tickets to the guy because he had a conversation with. He's like, yeah, where you heading to? Where you going? I guess so he could know if maybe he helped us got our car fixed, that he could actually take us to wherever it is we need to go or whatever. I don't know. The details are foggy, very faint. And my dad actually gave the guy, because he said, oh yeah, we're gonna go to a wrestling event. He's like, oh yeah, I'm a wrestling fan. We all started talking about it. And surely enough, we knew that we weren't going to make it in time. We knew that the car was messed up, and we didn't want to, you know, whether he told us or whether he didn't. It's not like he wanted. It's not like we wanted to drive there and then drive back. We just wanted to go ahead and get home, and whatever was seriously wrong with the car, we wanted to get it fixed. And so he went ahead and gave the tickets to the guy, and I guess the guy went to the wrestling event. I don't know who he took or whatever. That was the last we ever saw of him, but I guess in a way, he was like, well, we aren't gonna get to go. Something's wrong with our car. We don't want to get out there and have something happen again. He said, so better they go to you and be used than not be used at all. So I was just like, damn, dude. But anyways, uh, that was the answer to that whole deal. It sucked ass. It really just it sucked. He just went ahead and handed them off to the guy, and I was really heartbroken. I was upset about it, but there was what can I do? I was just a kid at the time, but anyways, that sucks so much. But anyways, on to the event. Now that I've done with my nostalgia little fit there, on to the main event, the main event of the evening, right here on Monday Night Raw. Anyways, but yeah, we Monday Night Raw. Anyways, but yeah, it was WWF Unforgiven in 1999 at the Charlotte Coliseum. I remember when we first got there, there was just an assload of cars, just every freaking where. The whole damn parking lot was packed the hell up with just cars everywhere. If they could park on top of each other, they probably would have done it. But anyways, we got in there and whatnot, and I think we actually had to pay for parking, which I think is bullshit, because if we already paid for the tickets, we should just be able to go ahead and park there as just free parking, and because we paid for freaking tickets to go to the event. I don't know. I just, it was bullshit with a capital T and a capital B, bullshit. But I was like, this is, paying for parking after we paid for tickets. I don't even know how much we even paid for them. I just thought it was stupid. But anyways, yeah, we went on and parked, and the line was outside, and we went on up and got up there, and we're waiting in line, and we chatted with a few other people, and people were wearing their wrestling shirts and whatnot, and I was looking around at everybody else, and I'm like, everybody has like these premium WWF shirts, that they bought, that they got sent to them in the mail, that I see wrestlers wearing on TV, and here I am with some Walmart wrestling shirt on. You know what I'm talking about? It's those wrestling shirts where you could get for like, I don't know, $7 to $10 or $15 or whatever it was at Walmart. I can't freaking remember how much it was, but it was a hell of a lot cheaper to get that than it was to go and buy the super ass expensive ones, through the mail, at the time. I think at that time they were doing, I don't know if they had online orders then or not. I can't really remember at that point in time if they were. They probably weren't, but I'm not sure. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But the fact of the matter is, I was just like, oh man, everybody here is wearing one of these awesome premium shirts, and here I am standing here with this Walmart WWF shirt. And I think it was Mankind, as a matter of fact. I think it was a Mankind shirt, I think. It was either that or it was a D-Generation X jersey, and it had Triple H, X-Pac, and Road Dogg all on the front, and it was green and black, and on the back, I think it said D-Generation X or DX or something. I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't even remember where I even got that specific shirt. I know I got the Mankind one at Walmart, but I'm not sure which one I wore that evening. But anyways, yeah, we got on in there. This was the first time I ever been to any type of Coliseum thing like this, and it was magnificent for me, because when I walked in, I just saw all of these seats and just this massive arena, and I saw the ring down there, and I was just all giddy. I was just so excited, because I'm just like, oh, I get to see my heroes, battle it out with the bad guys, and get to see all these matches and everything, the pyrotechnics and the theme musics and all of that, man. I was just so excited for it. I could have pissed my pants. I probably could have it a few times with some of the things that I had seen in some of the matches. But okay, now we got in there and everything, and I don't think we got anything from the concession stand. I don't think we just went in there and went and got our seats, because there was a freaking assload of people, and we're like, we ain't gonna be standing around waiting, and then here it comes time for us to go in there, and everybody, we just went to go get our seats, get in there, and get settled. And God rest my dead soul, but he wasn't as big of a wrestling fan as I was. He was kind of moderate, I guess you could say. He was kind of in between. My dad was weird when it came to wrestling. It's like some days he was really excited, and other days he could give a shit less. It was like a back and forth thing. I'm like, you're like night and day, Dad, when it comes to this stuff. Night and day when it comes to dealing with wrestling. I don't know what was up with him. I have no clue. I don't know why he acted that way. I'm like, you should either be for it or against it. And I don't know if he liked it just because of the fact of me, or whether he was into it somewhat, but whatever. Yeah, we went there, and I never really imagined how loud it would actually be inside of that arena, especially with everybody. I was, it was in 1999. I don't know how old I was then. I don't know. I'm not going to do math in my head, because I have the dumbs when it comes to dealing with freaking numbers and math and numbers and years and all that shit. But anyways, the fact is I was just kind of sitting there, and all of a sudden the power went off, and I'm like, it's like, holy shit, you want to talk about pissing and shit in your pants at the same time? It probably would have happened if I didn't empty my bladder before I went in the damn place. But anyways, I was just like, it was just loud, and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome, as the pyro was going off and everything. And then the theme music, the different theme songs had hit, and I'm just like, yeah, it was loud in there, and you're getting pumped and whatnot, and everybody's doing their thing, and everybody's cheering and saying this and that and the other and all this other stuff, and some of the stuff they were saying in there was nuts. I remember, I remember one time that I think I think this was because I've only been to 3 live events in my life, 2 SmackDowns and this one, the WWF Unforgiven one. I think somebody had I think yeah, China was there as a matter of fact. She was there. That yeah, because I'm seeing it right here. Um, the first match that they had. Now I don't know. I'm just looking at this online. This is what it's showing me, but I'm guessing it has everything here and that's adequate because I don't remember what happened. There's only one thing that I remember that happened there. One thing. Maybe 2 things. Let me see here. 2 things actually. Yes, there was 2 matches that I remember from it. One in particular being the Kennel from Hell match, which everybody said was atrocious. Honestly, I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, it was kind of slow a little bit, but I kind of thought it was kind of interesting. Even now on the WWE Network, I'll go and see what matches were from WWF Unforgiven '99 at that point in time to see if I could see myself in the crowd. But I was like up in the stands, maybe halfway. Probably wasn't on the floor, but was up in the stands, kind of like halfway, in there somewhere, and I was all the way on the outside there where the walkway is going up and down. And um, the Kennel from Hell match was obviously Al Snow versus Big Boss Man, and Al Snow beat Big Boss Man, and it was for the WWF Hardcore title. And the Kennel from Hell match was basically, if I can remember this properly, it was the steel cage on the ring, and then it was the Hell in the Cell over the ring, and on the outside of the ring, there was like 3 Rottweilers or something that was running around. And obviously this had to deal, the reason they had it like that was this had to deal with Big Boss Man and Al Snow, how Big Boss Man ended up taking Al Snow's dog, Pepper, I think it was, the little Chihuahua, whatever it was, and he supposedly cooked the dog and fed it to Al Snow. So Al Snow was looking to get vengeance back on Big Boss Man for that. And from what I've heard, like the dogs, they must have fed the dogs or something, because I think I actually saw this when I was there, but I also had heard about it the next night, how one of the dogs had actually like shit on the outside of the ring. And like the other 2 dogs weren't really doing anything, and I was like, well, what would you expect? What would you expect? You want the dogs to actually attack these guys or something? Come on, man. These are animals. They don't listen. They don't listen like humans do. But then again, humans nowadays don't freaking listen either. They're just like animals, which is no surprise here. But the fact is, that match was okay. I thought it was all right. Honestly, I thought it was probably going to last a little bit longer than what it did, because from what it says here, it was 11 minutes and 42 seconds. They even got the times on here. That's crazy. But yeah, let's see. Let's just go through the other ones here. It was Val Venus against Steve Blackman. Val Venus beat Steve Blackman. I'm not going to do the durations. And we have D'Lo Brown went against Mark Henry for the WWF European title, and it was a title change. D'Lo Brown defeated Mark Henry. And then we had Jeff Jarrett against China for the WWF Intercontinental title. Jeff Jarrett defeated China by disqualification. By the way, Val Venus defeated Steve Blackman with a pin, and D'Lo Brown defeated Mark Henry with a pin. When I saw that Jeff Jarrett versus China match, I thought it was that Good Housekeeping match. I don't think that was at Charlotte. It might have been somewhere else, because it's not showing here what the match date. It's not showing the match type. I mean, for some of them, it does show the match type of what it was, but it didn't say the Good Housekeeping match. But I'm still kind of wondering if that was it. It took place somewhere, where basically it was like, Jeff Jarrett was like, oh, all women belong in the kitchen, and rubbing their men's feet and getting my mail and getting my beer and all this other stuff. And I think China beat Jeff Jarrett. But what it was just like, the ring was turned into a kitchen, kind of. Well, it wasn't turned into a kitchen, but it had like kitchen stuff in there, and it was like a hardcore match basically, but using kitchen appliances, even the kitchen sink. Yes, the kitchen sink was actually in the match. But anyways, let's see. We got Bradshaw and Farouk defeated Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley via pin, and I guess Bradshaw and Farouk, I'm guessing at that time they were the APA. They formed, yeah, I think they were. I believe they were because I know they formed the APA at some point. It was either they were the APA or they were just known as the Acolytes. I think it was like one or the other. And there was Ivory defeated Luna Vachon via pin, and so it was for the WWF Women's Title, and that was a hardcore match, and she won that title. And then you had Mr. Ass and Road Dogg, which was the New Age Outlaws, defeat Edge and Christian via pin, and that was for the tag team titles. And then you had X-Pac defeat Chris Jericho via disqualification. And then you had the Six Pack Challenge, as it was called, for the WWF World Heavyweight title, and it was a title change. Triple H defeated and pinned somebody, I don't know, but it was with Triple H, Kane, Mankind, The Big Show, The British Bulldog, and The Rock. And I remember like I was when like I guess it was when X-Pac came out. Or just DX in general, like Mr. Ass and Road Dogg and X-Pac and Triple H and whatnot. I got out, stood out right at where the walkway is, and was just like doing the crotch chop, just like this and like this and like that, and there was some other dude that was like some few seats down or something when China came out. He's like, "Hey China, I got something you can suck on." I was just like, "Oh my god," and he might have been drunk. I have no freaking clue. But he I think he said like a few other choice things that night, probably. But yeah, and the funny thing is, like my dad, he I guess he enjoyed the show. Obviously, he didn't get into it as much as I did, but he would sit there, and he'd kind of get into it and watch it, and laugh a bit, and kind of check out everything that was going on, and we kind of stand up. You know how it is when you stand up in the crowd. You just try to get noticed or whatever on camera. Yeah, right. Because I tried to do that. That didn't work. You're just standing out there, and getting in with it with the crowd. And, he would just kind of stand there with his arms crossed and kind of laugh and look at stuff and whatnot, And he'd be like, and honestly, like the entire night, I don't really think he really was cheering for anyone per se, except for when The Rock came out. He was like, "Rocky, Rocky, 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 woo!" Just kind of like that. Like he had gotten into it at that point. But other than that, it didn't really seem like he was too much into it at the way that I was. Maybe he really done that for my benefit of taking me out. Like, hey, I get to spend some time with my son. Go out and go to a wrestling show with him and things like that. But overall, it wasn't like he was, like, "Oh my God," like I was, as being a kid at the time, and I was just acting like a nutso. But yeah, it was really awesome. The funny thing was after the last match, because sometimes at the end of the last match, sometimes they have something extra that happens. It's a random thing, at least from my experience. It's a random thing, something might happen after they go off the air, things like that. But my dad was like, he's like, "All right, it's over." He said, we need to go ahead and get out there, and try to get in our car and get going before other people out there, and we have to worry about traffic, which, you're going to have to worry about that anyways, because there's probably already people out there getting ready to go themselves. But we got out of there, and, I was talking to him about it, and we got in the car and left, and I was still talking to him about it, and I was so excited about it, and like I went to school the next day, and I believe it was the next day. I don't know if we had school that next day or not. And I was talking to, I believe it was like a couple friends of mine that I believe are wrestling fans, or maybe just one in general that was a wrestling fan. I was talking to him about it and things like that. But yeah, it was a memorable thing for sure. That's definitely something that I also remember about my dad. Like I said before, God rest his soul, because he passed away a few years ago. But it it's definitely one of those moments that I'll remember and cherish. Being with him, and then also the fact of, wow, it's my first wrestling event that I finally get to go to after so many delays that have happened previously, for crying out loud. you know, with always something coming up where we couldn't continue with our quest to go and see the whatever wrestling events that was happening at that point in time. Because I believe the other couple times that we were trying to go, they were just live events. They weren't televised or anything, but we still wanted to go. You know, obviously, because from what I've heard, house shows are actually really awesome. They are. Sometimes I've even heard that sometimes house shows are even better than what they put on TV. So if that tells you anything, there you go. But which it kind of boggles my mind. It's like, man, I know you got to have something to actually bring people to the table in terms of seeing house shows. But then again, why can't you have some of the same stuff that are house shows on TV? I just, whatever. Um, that's neither here nor there. That's something completely different, obviously. That's a whole different discussion, a whole different rant. But anyways, I talked longer on this than I thought that I was going to. So yeah, wow. I didn't think it was going to go this long. But anyways, I just want to go ahead and give my thoughts on this, give my thoughts about the first wrestling event that I ever went to and my whole thoughts and feelings on it and whatnot and the matches that had happened. And obviously, I don't remember off the top of my head anything that had occurred in these matches except for that Kennel from Hell match, you know, that I had mentioned before. This everybody hated apparently. I thought it was interesting, you know. It's just maybe that's just me because I'm a weirdo as it is. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, I will end this like I always do. Later, taters.